Hello, hello.
Hello, Grace. It's good to see you again.
Aloha, my dear. Aloha.
Aloha.
So I'm obviously on Maui.
Yeah, right, you are. You know, you're not supposed to be at the beach right now. What are you doing? Get off.
But look at this. Nobody's there. Oh, couple people,
I see.
actually, right?
2 people.
Couple people,
Yeah.
maybe 3. And you are really on Maui.
Yes, welcome to my bathroom, as everyone is probably in somewhere in their small quarters. So I am closed down to, I have a 4-bedroom house, but I have tenants. So since I just traveled to Australia, I have to keep them safe. So I have closed myself into my bathroom suite, and I go downstairs wearing gloves and a mask to protect them, because I am assuming that I am probably positive because of all my travels. But I get tested tomorrow to find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my dear ones, you see Jennifer Rikert.
Yes.
On Facebook is a little different, but about this a little later. She lives in Maui, Hawaii. We met on Maui, where I used to live and work. We worked together at Macy's. I work for Estee Lauder Cosmetics. And you work for whom?
Dior.
Oh, Dior.
Excuse me, I know.
Yeah, so we were walking there, and we looked beautiful with everything on us, right?
And now look at us.
Now look at us. Yes. So how are you doing right now after the trip? You mentioned that you're staying home. Are you working?
I'm lucky enough to have, as I'm a special education teacher, that's my job that gives me benefits and everything in America. So we are able to work online, and so I train new special education teachers. And since the schools are trying to, in the state of Hawaii, do online learning, like many places in the world, so we're continuing with that initiative, and I'm very happy and proud of our state that we're able to do that, because I was wondering, I wasn't sure, because usually Hawaii is like the wild, wild west. We're the last frontier of catching on to things. And I'm also seeing that right now with the virus. We're very slow in arriving to a place where the rest of the world is about stay at home. So that makes me nervous, but I'm very proud of our education system that we are doing online learning. So I am working, and I also work with the Chinese online teaching English, and I've been doing that for 2 years. And so I'm lucky enough to say I have 2 sources of income online. And I know, as you, Grace, you also work online. So you and I think this is where the world is going. And this is more of a reality check that...
Do you remember, I think this was still on Maui, when I said to you, do whatever you can on Skype. Remember that? Do it.
Yes, you did. You told me. Yeah, that was amazing. You said, that's what Grace said to me. She's like, the wave of the future is online. I'm telling you, Jenny. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm doing the Chinese right now, English. I talk to children and teach them how with puppets and how to speak English. But Grace said to me, she goes, no, beyond that, it's going to be more and more and more and more. But I couldn't see in my world how I could extend what I was already doing with the Chinese. And I still have trouble with that. And I think a lot of people will struggle with that as well. You have to think outside the box. You have to be creative and find ways to make money online. And that's very hard, because you wonder, well, who will pay me? So
unless you open a business, you have your website and you have prices just like I do. And I do this for so many years. And working from home when everybody's on a lockdown and Jesus Christ, what I'm going to do, to me, it's normal. Yes. Totally normal. And guess what? We're going exactly there. It's just because of this Aquarius, which we spoke today very briefly.
Yes.
Aquarius, you can be in very Capricorn, whatever, but you know, like I'm saying, and maybe once and forever on the record, I can say here openly, nobody is one sign only. It doesn't exist. You're gonna need to know all your birth chart, everything, ascendant, moon, Saturn, Mars, Pluto, etc., to establish who you are. So all this talk about what's your sign, this is so like not an Aquarian anymore, because Aquarius is open-minded.
Yes.
It's progressive, it's futuristic, and repeating the same stuff and doing the same stuff from the past is very Republican. Don't you think so?
Absolutely.
Very. Now we're getting somewhere else, right? But is Maui on lockdown? Can you travel?
No, you know, this is what concerns me. I see right now in my small subdivision town, neighborhood, the kids are out walking other people's dogs, petting other people's dogs. The neighbors are congregating. But like I said, when I arrived back from Australia last Wednesday on the 25th of March, I was the only local resident in that international plane flying from Melbourne to Honolulu. And everyone around me was speaking another language, and they were trying to get home from Europe. I heard Italian, Spanish, French. I don't know if they were French or Canadian. I should have asked them because I speak French. But I was the only local resident on this flight, and I was concerned. There are still planes coming into Honolulu. And, you know, but there was no security in the airports. So that made me—
That is so weird, because Honolulu is so secured, man.
Right. And they just let me walk through. They said, okay. And I took my connecting flight and I went home and I looked around and I said, I can go? That's it? This is not right. So I learned later that the midnight that night is when they mandate a 14-day quarantine for all incoming people, residents and tourists. But of course, no one wants to come to Hawaii if you are going to have to stay in your hotel for all 14 days. You cannot go out of your hotel room. So that is
all the islands are like that, or
yes.
Just Honolulu?
No, the state of Hawaii. So all the islands are like that right now. Yes. But how are they going to enforce this? I don't know. You know, is it up to the hotels individually to say, hey, you need to get back in your room? I mean, it's
you know, Hawaii, and especially Maui, because that's my spiritual home, let's call horse a horse. They are more open-minded, and this is a very democratic state.
Yes.
They are more progressive. They're not like, yeah, it's got to be like this because always was like that. We're gonna make you miserable. You cannot do this, you cannot. That's unthinkable. That's why the energy in Hawaii is so beautiful. And you know what? I cannot see actually people getting sick there. It's just too high vibration for that, honestly, you know?
I really hope so. So far, we have 17 cases on Maui, though. I don't know how many are in ICU and what age they are. We do know, you know, that older people are more susceptible to the virus, of course, because as you get older, your immune system is not working as well.
Oh, how do they know that they have that? You don't know yet for sure.
I don't know for sure, no.
How do they know? Did they get already tests?
Yes, we already have tests. I'm going to get tested tomorrow. Right now, Monday, tomorrow, they have 100 tests available and you call in. So after we are done today, I'm going to call in and tell them I've traveled, I'm having symptoms. I've been having feverish, achy, flu-y feeling, and also, what else? Maybe trouble breathing sometimes when I get up, but no cough. But I do have flu-y feeling and feverish. And I took my temperature, but my temperature, I think my thermometer is broken or something. So
it's possible that you just simply tie it. Tell me how many, I'm going to ask you about Australia. How many airports did you touch down on the way from Australia to Maui?
7.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Somebody who is healthy as anything, you tell them to fly so much, you tie it.
Yeah. I hope that's what it is. I really do hope, Grace, that you're right, because I don't, but then in my mind, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if, I studied epidemiology at Cornell. I wanted to get a master's in it after I was in the Peace Corps, and I lived through Ebola. I lived in Africa, and I was working as a volunteer in the Congo in 1996 to 1997. And Ebola had an outbreak in a village a few kilometers north of me. And I saw the effects of that and the fear. So I've kind of already lived through something.
I think that you're immune. At least that's what my wishful thinking right
Yes.
now. Let's be positive. Let's be positive.
Yes.
Okay.
But I traveled knowing that I knew what to do to prepare and take care of myself and protect myself. I don't know more than anyone else because I didn't pursue my master's in epidemiology, but I went to the education side. But I knew enough and studied enough. So when I traveled, I felt like I had a mask and gloves, and I was very careful. So Grace, if I'm positive, I'm going to be very surprised. But
me even more, because I look at you, I see a healthy person.
Yes.
Really. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. So once you get that test done, please call me and let me know what who is right.
Right. I hope you're right, and I hope
so I can tell you I told you so.
Yes,
and it's gonna be a good news. And now, you told me months ago that you're going to Australia. Then the big fires happened.
Yes.
And so many poor animals, which I don't want to talk because probably I'm going to start to cry.
I know.
Because once I get this picture, I can't even talk straight. So you finally went to Australia, and you have the voice, girl. You have the full voice. Please tell us what your experience.
Yes. So, of course, it's only my personal experience. I'm only one person, so there might be different scenarios in other parts of Australia. I went to Cory, Australia, which is a very small cattle ranching town. It is one of the most severely hit towns in Australia by the fires. So they opened this, the nonprofit organization I went with, opened a new post in the town, and they found a local wombat wildlife shelter that was willing to host volunteers coming through my nonprofit. And so Nev and Julie Campbell are their names, or not Campbell, Nev and Julie, they have different last names, I'm sorry. They're with the Bellaboo Wildlife Shelter in Cory, Australia. They're absolutely wonderful couple, and they have always worked with this wombat shelter. They take in orphaned wombats that are found on the side of the road or hit. And with every marsupial in Australia, when a car hits a marsupial, you have to check the pouch, because inside there is most likely 80% of the time a baby inside. And people don't know this, and they just drive on, go, oh, that kangaroo is dead. And well, people who live there, they know, but many people don't care to check, because kangaroos are considered wildlife, and it's a nuisance, because for every one Australian, there are 2 kangaroos in Australia. So their population doubles humans in that continent. So with that said, these people are lovely, and they really care for the wildlife. So they were doing this already. Then the fires came, New Year's Eve. Cory, Australia had 700-degree Fahrenheit fires in some areas of the mountainside. When I saw the mountainside 3 months after, it wasn't a charred landscape, it still was, but there were little shoots off the gum trees or the eucalyptus trees. When the tree is stressed so much from the fire and it loses all of its branches, it has these, from the trunks, these beautiful little green shoots coming off, and it looks like ivy growing up all of these tall, black, charred trees. So that felt like hope when I saw that. It was wonderful to see that life finds a way to continue. However, it's going to be many, many months before there is enough grass ground cover that the wildlife eat in that mountain side. So meanwhile, this family, Julie and Nev, have taken it upon themselves with no funding, nothing, to get up into the mountains and leave food for the wildlife to help them survive until the grass grows back. Because wallabies, kangaroos, wombats, echidnas, possums, they eat the grass around the trees. They don't eat eucalyptus. Eucalyptus is for the koalas, but koalas do not live in this region. They are in the north of Australia. And I am in Victoria, or Koryong is in Victoria, which is more south. So with that said, I was placed in this spot. I stayed in Nev and Julie's house with one other volunteer, and they were very hospitable and great Aussie sense of humor. I really loved their really down-to-earth sense of humor, and we worked every day. Many people in this town have obviously PTSD from the fires. Still 3 months out, Nev and Julie were expressing their concern about how people treat one another. If you can imagine during having a fire, just like what we're experiencing right now with the pandemic, it brings out the best and the worst in people. So they just need to vent, they need to talk. And driving with them up into the mountains and hearing their experience was invaluable for me. I was able to get a firsthand perspective on what it feels like to be a resident of this town, having lived through watching a raging, glowing, heat, hot, stifling, you cannot breathe fire coming towards your house, and you cannot do anything. And at that time, Julie was separated from Nev. Nev was in another area. And at that time, he could not get through to his wife because the cell towers were down. They were burned on the mountain. And he did not know if his wife was dead or alive, if his house was there, if the wombats were alive, that they were their children, their babies. And he just couldn't watch the telly. He couldn't be on television or watch anything or be on social media because he just couldn't get in, and he couldn't contact and know what was happening in his house and if his partner was alive or not. So just hearing that story alone made me realize you're going to get PTSD for a long time after that. It doesn't matter if everything's okay. Things are still not okay. And meanwhile, we're having a pandemic now. It was interesting to come in and have this experience. And I did do a fundraiser once for them. I was able to collect some money and bring to them through my friends, which is wonderful, because now my purpose to come and be a tourist and bottle feed a baby wombat it's bigger than me now. So now I'm coming with a real purpose. And that's the reason why, against all common sense, I got on a plane at this time during the epidemic or the pandemic, and I went. And for better or worse, I was afraid. And with my knowledge of knowing and interest in epidemiology, I knew we were going in this direction, that it was going to get worse. And I knew that I could get stuck in Australia. I went anyway because I felt like I had to go. Maybe that's my Aquarius in me. It's bigger than me. I felt a push that, in a way, I kind of felt protected, like I will be protected because I'm coming with good intentions and with cause, and many people were behind me to mule and carry out and deliver the money directly to the hands of the shelter owners. I think many people, yes?
Jenni, you are a humanitarian.
Yeah, Aquarius.
Where do you work as a humanitarian? Remind us, where did you work in your life? Because you did. That's your history, your past.
Yeah, it's funny because in high school, I worked with my church youth group. I was born and raised Catholic. My mother is uber Catholic, still, I call her. And maybe that instilled in me, although I see myself as very spiritual and not, I still have ingrained in me Catholic upbringing. I remember when I was in my church youth group, my priest at the time said, "Oh, you seem like one of those throwbacks," because I was working with a homeless shelter since I was in high school. And I just took an interest to it. I don't know why. I just felt like this is the right thing to do to help people that are less fortunate. So every Friday I would work with my youth group in my church, and we would go help this is outside New York City, and work at a homeless shelter after school. And then my priest...
And what did you do in Africa?
Right, so then my priest said, "Have you heard of the Peace Corps?" And I said, "What is that?" I was 13. And it clicked, it connected to me. And so when I went finally to the Peace Corps after college, it was an 11-year dream realized. And I was working as an AIDS education and water sanitation technician for the Peace Corps. And so I was digging wells, building latrines, conducting AIDS education in my village. And I was the only white English speaking woman in a 300-mile radius in the middle of the rainforest. It was very scary at times, but very wonderful. Just like this last trip I took. So something clicked in me. I've never felt more alive and with purpose in my life and doing meaningful work than when I'm helping other people, but there's always going to be a sense of danger. You're always going to take risks. It feels like you're flying off a cliff and you're going to grow wings on the way down, or you're just flying off the cliff and you're hoping someone will catch you if you don't grow wings. That's okay.
But it wouldn't be boring if was no risk involved at all. What kind of flat and boring life? Now, some people have that. Some people have that, right?
Yeah.
And not in Aquarius, though. It's not good.
No. Well, I'm scared of flying, honestly. And it's a joke how much I fly, because every time I get on a plane, I'm making a deal with the universe and God that I'll be a better person by the time we land. And then I walk off the plane and I forget.
But that is not the air sign. I would say that that's the past life experiences. That
yeah, I'm
every
terrified.
time you're going to be in some kind of situation dealing with flying, boom, it raises that red flag, you know, that's another story.
I wouldn't doubt it. I work on it. Sometimes it's worse than others, my fear of flying and my phobias. Sometimes I don't know what it is. I think when I'm unhappy in my life at certain times, especially when I'm bored, when I'm not engaged and feeling like I have purpose in life, that's when my fears, my panic attacks, everything comes out. When you have purpose in life, I can do anything. I'm not scared of anything because I have a mission. And
because if you're not on a mission, you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And many people don't realize that. Thank you for actually raising this, because many people are depressed. And depression means you're not doing what you're supposed to do for the others. So if you want to switch that depression right away, like, you know, end it, start doing something charitable, help people, reach out, stop thinking about yourself, your situation, and start think and help others. Absolutely. But I've seen you on Facebook with the koala.
Oh, it was a wombat, yes?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, I did take a picture of a koala.
Yeah, you're right. But that was so sweet.
I know, yeah. That was at the zoo. So I did have 4 days in Sydney before I went off to my post in the outback. And it was weird being in Sydney. Not many people on the streets, but the ones who were on the streets were not cautious. I was the only one of few that was wearing a mask. And I learned a lot of things talking to many people at a distance. I stayed in a youth hostel, and I met my roommate in the youth hostel was from Taiwan. And funny that her English name is Angel. She gave me some of the best masks that are produced to protect yourself from the virus. It's not an N95 mask, it's more. It's like N100, 200, something that helps the particle, stops all particles from coming in, or most of them. And she was literally my angel. She gave me a whole bunch of masks before I left to continue on to my outback post. And those masks helped me get home, and I was wearing them. So it's just wonderful.
So you had an angelic protection.
I did. And her name was Angel, go figure. But she shared with me that because she's Asian face, she felt like she could not wear a mask in Sydney because people would look at her like she's sick. And we know that there's a lot of, there's a lot of discrimination. Some people are calling this the China virus. And we talked about this at length. And I actually filmed her and put it on my Instagram stories, because I said, you need to tell my friends and family in the world what you're experiencing as a person with an Asian outside shell, and how people are reacting to you right now at this time. So, and she was so sweet. I mean, who knows? She might have saved my life indirectly. She helped me get protected. So,
you had good intentions, and then you had this, even maybe a little being frightened to fly, but then you had this angelic protection. which is
Yeah.
beautiful.
And her name was Angel. Can't believe
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So you for sure know what's going on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's how a way I felt protected all the way. I just kind of knew that I was going to be okay. I don't think though, however, I'm also seeing, and when I returned, that there's a lot of people, as we all know, in their early 20s that just feel like they are impervious to and immune to this. And they think since they're young, they won't get this virus. But of course,
that's what they hear. That's what they hear. It's designed for, you know, these older people to whatever, get sick. And if you just go by this, oh, then if you're younger, who cares, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is you don't know if you have an underlying problem.
We have no idea. We can guess, and it's many theories, right?
Yeah.
But who knows for sure?
Right, right.
We don't. So it's not just taking care of ourselves, but being responsible for the others. And in the meantime, we're all waiting for the answers. What really happened?
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But safety is first. So very interesting stories. But you also have something else to say before we go, right?
Yes. Well, we also have, I've raised money, and while I was in Cory, Australia, the fires have stopped, of course, although, you know, dry season is coming up, and they're coming into winter now. So that means that the grass is less likely to grow. So Bellaboo Wildlife Shelter let me know while I was working with them and doing the food drops. We created food stations all along the mountainside, and all of these wallabies, kangaroos, and echidnas, which are these little spiny, very cute anteater type animals, and wombats, are eating the carrots. All of the wildlife only wants to eat carrots. They don't want to eat the grain that the nonprofit, the government is giving these shelters to put on the mountainside. All of these food drops, they don't want to buy carrots. The problem is that only the wildlife will only eat the carrots. Carrots cost 20 American dollars per a big bag when I was there. When the virus hit, when the pandemic came, we went to the store the next day. The same bag of carrots are now $40 US dollars a bag. So my concern is that the wildlife is going to suffer even more because people are not going to afford, these nonprofit shelters are not going to have the money to continue to keep these animals alive until the forest cover grows back and they can eat the forest grass on their own. So it's now more than ever, there's a need for them to get more funding. I did open a Facebook, another fundraiser, and I had money coming in through my Venmo account while I was there, and it was wonderful. I had friends watching because they're all home alone, stuck in their house, and they were donating $20, $40, and I was giving a video shout out to them saying, thank you, Brandon, for purchasing this bag of carrots that I'm now going to put on the mountainside. And that made them feel good. It was a connection going, wow, I just gave her money.
Now, I have a question for you. So you were donating you money. Mm-hmm. Did you go and personally purchase those carrots?
Yes. So
you did, but now you're not there. So what's
right. So what's happening now is that, unfortunately, I had to leave 5 days early. I'm still in close communication with Julie and Nev, and I've opened another Facebook fundraiser page on my Facebook account, and I'd love people to friend me if they'd like to donate to the Bellaboo Wildlife Shelter.
And you are my friend.
Yes.
So whoever is friends with me,
we'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
Yes. So my name and Facebook is Jennifer Rikert Wolski. So that's Jennifer, and then Rikert is Rikert. Wolski is Polish, Wolska, Wolski. Yes.
So in Polish, we would say Jennifer Rikert Wolski. Wolski.
Yes. Oh, okay. Not Wolska.
Wolska is in Polish, if you were in Polish, but if you married to Wolski, you are Wolski.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'd still be of the man's name, not the feminine side. Okay, gotcha.
What can I say?
Hey, it's the world we live in, right? It doesn't matter what culture you come from.
Everything is changing, though. Everything is changing, you know.
I'm glad.
Feminist, you know, the feminine energy is opening up, empathy, unconditional love. and we sit in home, so we kind of more empathetic because we know what it means when we don't feel totally comfortable, right?
Yes, this is instant marriage therapy, family therapy for everyone stuck in their homes with their family. And I like that many people are appreciating what teachers do, because now they have to sit with their children all day long in their house. That's why.
You know what? If one is 15, the other is 10, and the other is 1 year old.
Yeah.
And a marriage that they don't like too much each other, I wonder how people doing. You say you single, I'm single, so we don't have those problems.
Yeah.
But I would really, you know, I'm starting today something. Actually, I started just before meeting you in Polish. But if somebody comes in English, I'm absolutely open for that too. Yeah. Tell me your story. Tell me your interesting story. How are you doing at this time? Maybe we can inspire each other, motivate, you know, do something good for each other, you know, open up and share.
Yeah, definitely. We have to stay busy, but this is really a collective time. I know that I saw something on social media talking about famous creations over the history of time. They were the Leonardo da Vinci, other people that were holed up in their area because a plague was coming through. And that is when they created some amazing innovations that we still use in the world. So I'm not saying that we're all going to be Einsteins and da Vinci's creating, you know, time travel, but wouldn't it be?
You never know. I'm ready for a UFO, you know.
Yeah.
For an interview. Anything is going on. When we're in the age of Aquarius, when we're going into all this so progressive thoughts, anything goes. Right. Anything, but humanitarian, reaching out to each other. So you see, you and Maui.
Yes.
We met in October, which was so beautiful. Now I'm in New Jersey. I'm still feel like in Maui. You over there in Hawaii. And you see, we're talking, sitting, you know, where is your coffee? Here is my tea.
Yes, I've got my coffee, and I even have a wombat on my.
That's right.
My wombat mug. See,
so cool.
I had to be a tourist somehow and get some wombat paraphernalia. And
I'm surprised you didn't bring one home.
No, I didn't. Well, you know, that's because my cat would have been very upset if I brought a wombat home, because she.
Hi, kitty.
Yes, a little bit. Yes. She teaches with me all the time, but yes.
And that's good. You're not alone. You're not alone. It's all
definitely
good.
Not. Yes.
It's so good. You're still working. I'm working. It's all beautiful. And as long as we're optimistic and we raise the vibration, you know, as long as we don't go down, you know, being depressed and seeing everything as pessimistic and looking for the worst case scenarios. No.
Yeah, and even on top of it, if you know, there's different responses. Maui is a very spiritual place, as you know, and I had some people, but this is the time with the pandemic that the spiritual marries with the science side of a virus, because some people say to me, just think positive, and my science side of my brain is saying, either I have it or I don't. It's not about thinking positive. It's a virus, people. This is real. This is, and my thinking side comes in. But you raised an important point. My immune system responds to my emotions, my energy, vibration.
And you're thinking and feeling. So hello, scientists.
Right. So the scientist in me is now realizing that the spiritual side works in marriage in conjunction with the two. And it is a matter of life and death, literally, for everyone right now, to think positive, to be happy, and to find humor in every day and laugh as much as you can, unless you have a cough. Don't laugh. It hurts.
Sleep, rest, relax. It's a perfect time. Learn as much as you can about yourself and everything that maybe you didn't have time before in that chaos, right?
Right.
I even hear the birds singing. It's like I love quiet. That's why I love Maui, not Oahu. Okay, it's simple. Not Honolulu, but being Maui.
Yeah.
It's greenery. It's just, that's why I chose this background. Just love it. I feel right away better, you know.
Right.
So if we raise our vibration, which is gonna be on April 4th, like international global vibration, you know, I'm sorry, meditation everywhere. It's so important because when we feel good, when we're not stressed out, we cannot get sick, really. That would be very hard. Yeah. Because the virus is reaching and it's like, no, thank you very much. So, you know, taking care of ourselves and our closest, nearest, and dearest, and smiling like us, Jenni.
Grace is always amazing to bring the vibration up and the humor. So I really appreciate your friendship. You are just truly a beautiful, amazing person.
Oh, thank you, Jenni. Thank you. And you know what? You are the most positive person I ever met.
No.
Oh, and I'm not joking either.
Oh, gosh.
You adapting so quickly. And no matter what, you are a happy person.
Yeah.
Well, naturally, you're born that way. I don't know what it is, because you went through a lot in your life, including, I mean, the, you know, your accident and stuff. So if somebody else would be like in bed and sick and down and and out, and that's not you. You upbeat, chop, you know, let's go, let's do something. Yeah. So I admire that about you.
Thank you. It's part survival, especially when I survived a divorce. And I know a lot of people go through that. That's really about finances that got me up off my feet. But in a way, the practical survival, okay, it's up to me to take care of myself now, and I have to get out of this financial hole. That's practicing self-love. And it's maybe a natural instinct to self-preserve, but when you find it, you realize you're also practicing self-love. And then you're able to worry about other people. So for a while, I did have to be selfish, but now I've come out on the other side, and now I'm able to give back. And that's what my Australia trip was all about. So of course it's okay. Be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself at this time. If you are a giver and you feel like you're getting sick, well, take time out. It's okay to practice self-love and take care of yourself. Put it on the back burner.
Yeah, especially that we're staying home. So why not to give to ourselves the best treatment ever?
Yeah.
Really.
And there will always be a time again where you can get back on that horse and you live your life purpose. So we're always in this cycle.
But you know something, Jenni, when I'm looking at you, I swear, I'm thinking right away, we kind of different kind of species a little bit, because we always look how to help, how to reach out, how to raise the vibration on this planet, for Christ's sakes. After, you know, doing the video in Polish, I was like, okay, I'm ready now to wear pajamas, and I don't want to know about anything anymore. Just relax, right? And that's what we're preaching, relax, rest. But for some people, relaxing means go to bed or just do nothing. And for me and you, I called you, right? I called you, and you didn't answer because you were still sleeping. And then like you got up and I said, Jenni, chop, we're making a video because you need to tell us all what happened in Australia, all your experiences. And here you go, you know, from this little cocoon, suddenly I said, okay, hey, kitty.
Hello.
Kitty. So beautiful. What's her name?
Little Bit.
Oh.
Little Bit. I know.
Wow.
Yeah, she was a wild cat at the high school where I taught on Maui, and she came into my classroom, a small kitten, and I tamed her up and brought her home. So she's very smart, and she's very tapped into me at this time. She knew I was not feeling well, and
she missed you.
Yeah.
You were home for how long? You were in home?
Oh gosh, almost 2 weeks. I had to cut it short and come
Are you
home.
kidding me? You her mama.
Yes, yes. So she's very happy I'm home, and she knows when I teach online with the Chinese, I say, hello, ni hao. She hears me and comes and jumps on my lap, and she's right here. So she even puts her paw on the mouse. Like she knows she wants to do what mom
You know
do.
what? She's your assistant, and of course she likes the mouse.
So funny though, but just animals are just, I think these are what raise your vibration, especially at this time. They're 100%
Absolutely.
angels.
Because of this unconditional love.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is not to offend anyone out there, but these are accessories to our lives. We have lives outside of home, but for them, we are their entire life. And this is a wonderful time for them. They're probably, all the animals in the world right now are happy that their humans are staying home.
But you know something, you know what I've been saying lately, that this is not that we're helping animals. Animals are actually helping us.
Yes. And I'm feeling that definitely.
The energy. If anybody feels energy and has a cat or a dog or any horse, animal, you know, you feel that energy. You feel the connection big time, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jenny, I thank you so much. For this beautiful long meeting. I don't even know how long we were. I even didn't look at the clock.
45 minutes.
Wow, okay. Perfect. Wonderful. Like in school, we're both teachers. So like 45 minutes, okay. The class is over.
Time to go.
Please let me know what's the results. That for sure are negative, okay? Just confirm that tomorrow, all right?
I will, definitely.
And I talk to you some other time, my dear ones.
Yes.
I
know, big hug, or the elbow, whatever that new.
You know, whatever it is, it's okay. It's fine with me.
All right, and if anyone wants to donate, Jennifer Rikert Wolski, I'm on Grace Carter's Facebook account. Please friend me. I'd love to hear anyone.
You know, Jenny, I'm gonna, under this video on YouTube, I'm gonna post your name. So if they want to go on Facebook and find you, here we go.
Thank you. Oh, and I didn't let everyone know how the money's now going to get to them since I'm now in America. So it takes 1 month then I write a personal check. I will mail it to them when the funds come into my bank account through Facebook. They take a small percentage or charge processing fee, Facebook does, of that amount. And I will write a big check to them, and it takes about 1 month for the money to come out through Australia, because I have a American check. So the bank takes longer when you cash it in another country. But it's still money, and they are very grateful that I'm continuing this, because they solely live on donations. And as you all know, I don't know if you've heard, but the Australian government and all the larger nonprofits, the smaller shelters have not seen any of that money, if any. So it's not getting to them. It's that middleman that takes a lot of the money. And I worked for a nonprofit. I know how these things operate. And that is why I opened a private, you know, so I can take the money directly to the hands of the real people who are working in the shelter.
And
so
now if anybody, because you don't know Jenny, you never met her, you just only heard what you heard, okay? But I know Jenny, she's trustworthy. So this is the best way. If you really want to help, that's it. That's the woman.
Thank you so much. And it was humbling that I was able to raise thousands of dollars in less than 48 hours when the fires hit, that people trusted me. And that was the most, I'm going to cry now, but that was the most wonderful process of all of this. Because in my mind, I don't know if I would trust anyone. When I see these fundraisers, I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. That money's not going to get there.
And that's a sad thing. That's a really tragic. Maybe even this will change. We're going to stop believing in these big, you know, companies, corporations, and who knows what. And we're going to start connect. Who knows whom? Who can trust whom? And that's the new way to go.
It is. It's wonderful. So like I said, it's bigger than me now. And truly, I think that finding purpose in your life that is bigger than you, beyond you, is what keeps you healthy, sane, and finding true meaning in your life. And it's the richest life you can possibly have is when you're serving others. I knew I was born on this earth to be a servant. Just like I think the president of the United States and all main leaders are servants, but a lot of them have lost that idea. They think they're power mongers.
Let's even go there right now. Let's end on a beautiful Maui, Hawaii.
You're in Hawaii. I'm in my bathroom. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're looking at it. You're looking.
It's beautiful. I know. What beach is that? That's the west side.
South.
Oh, I see it. Yes, that's Koalas in the back. Yeah. And then, oh my gosh.
You say that's totally, yeah, it's beautiful.
You're too funny.
I would love to be right. No, I am right now. What I'm talking about.
Gotta love this
okay, Jenni.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, everybody.
See you.